Hey there, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Weekly MTG. Today, we are going to be giving a first little sneak peek at Innistrad Midnight Hunt and more of what's to come for Innistrad in 2021. I'm looking at chat already, and just to confirm, yes, we do have some preview cards to show off to folks today. Just a little bit, just a bit of a sneak peek taste before we dive deeper into previews later. Probably in about a month, just a give take. But first, let me introduce our guest that we have for today. So, first up is Mike Turian. Mike, if you could tell us a little bit about what you did for this set.
Uh, hey, Chris. For Innistrad Midnight Hunt and also Crimson Vow, I was the product architect for both sets. So when we're talking about the product lineup and some of the special booster fun, that's really where I spent a lot of my time and attention.
Very nice. And then Ethan Fleischer is also joining us. Now, Ethan is probably the person most responsible for making sure that Asmarana, Mardica, Dicey, and Koldakar made it into Modern Horizons 2, but you were also
Nice
involved
pronunciation.
with. Thank you, thank you. I never practice that name. That's the first time it slipped out, and it just happened. But yeah, if you can tell us a little bit about your involvement with these sets.
Oh yeah, so I led the vision design team for Innistrad. Um, what's the set we're talking about?
For Midnight Hunt, yeah.
Midnight Hunt?
Midnight Hunts.
Yeah.
Sorry, I still think about them as their code names, which is golf and clubs. So
Right.
yeah, we came up with the big themes for the set and a lot of the mechanics, and some of those mechanics, as we'll find out, made it into this set, and some of them made it into the next set, and then we handed off to the set design team for final design.
Awesome. Very cool. Now, before we talk about these sets in particular, let's just do a little background for folks. So, the world of Innistrad. Innistrad was first revealed, debuted to folks back in 2011. If anybody in the chat wants to feel the passage of time creep across their backs, just keep 2011 in mind. And Innistrad is a fan favorite world. We know people love going to Innistrad. It is heavily inspired by Gothic horror and all of the terrors of the night, classic monsters that sort of lurk around every corner and in every shadow of Innistrad. There are werewolves, vampires, zombies, all sorts of creepy crawlies anywhere you look. In about 5 or 6 years ago now, and we went back to Innistrad for the first time with Shadows over Innistrad and Eldritch Moon, where it was discovered that the Eldrazi had a big influence on the plane. They were slowly corrupting it, and eventually it was revealed that Emrakul was in fact the corruptive force on Innistrad. Since that time, we are now sort of. It's been a few years in the world of Midnight Hunt now that we're back to Innistrad sort of, not back to normal because nothing is normal on Innistrad, and certainly nothing is peaceful. But we are back to the Innistrad, more like the Innistrad of 2011. The Eldrazi are in the rearview mirror at this point. Their influence is slowly and finally receded from the plane, and now we are back to the horrors that we've come to know and expect and love from Innistrad. So first up, let's Sean, if you could pull up some of the landscape art, some of the just a peek at what Innistrad looks like right now. You can sort of take a look here, and while we do, Mike and Ethan, if you could just talk a little bit about sort of what to expect this time around on Innistrad compared to what we've done previously, and sort of where the world sits right now.
Right. So for Innistrad Midnight Hunt, we kind of looked at all of the Innistrad sets. This is the sixth set that is set on Innistrad, and we've seen Innistrad with a lot of different phases. We've seen the sort of classic horror trope Innistrad. We've seen, go deep on monster tribes, Innistrad. We've seen Innistrad covered with angels, and we've seen Innistrad be invaded by the Eldrazi. And for Midnight Hunt, we really wanted to reset Innistrad to sort of the classic original 2011 version, where horror monsters from classic horror films are menacing humanity, and who is going to protect them, because Avacyn is dead now.
Right. That is one of the big sort of cliffhanger plot moments that happened in the last block. And so now we see in Innistrad, and to give a little taste of the story to come, the nights are getting even longer in Innistrad. The sun is rising later and setting sooner. Things are very chilly and cold, even colder than normal on Innistrad. Unusually cold for the fall time frame that we see here. And the set sort of opens with the upcoming Harvesttide festival that a lot of the witches and warlocks in Innistrad believe is going to fight back against that encroaching darkness and the ever-increasing terrors that are coming out of it.
Right. Without Avacyn's protection, the humans have to turn to older and perhaps darker magics to stave off the onslaught of the different monsters, most particularly the werewolves. The werewolves are going plumb loony in Midnight Hunt.
Those gosh dang werewolves done gone mad. But yeah, you can take a look here. We have this piece of key art for the set. You might recognize this particular figure. We're not gonna name names, but I think we know what's going on here. So expect to see werewolves of all kinds coming back for this set. Now we do have just to sort of talk a little bit more about the set itself. Sean, if we could move towards the sort of product lineup that people can expect to come with Innistrad. And Mike, if you could just sort of walk us through what we're looking at here and what fans can expect when Innistrad Midnight Hunt comes out.
Yeah, for sure. So on the, Innistrad Midnight Hunt as what I'll call a full product lineup, right? You see on the left-hand side of your screen, the set boosters are continuing. Those are 12 card packs. They include an art card and just lots of goodness. A really fun opening experience where you can, soak in all that creative and all of the cards that Midnight Hunt has to offer. In the middle, we have the collector booster. The collector booster is where you'll find the booster fun, the showcase treatment, the borderless cards, right? For every set, we've really been trying to find ways to connect to that to that resonance and the sort of the heart and what makes the set so awesome. And with a world about it's about this gothic horror, in the werewolves and everything that has to offer. We really created some outstanding treatments. And also the other thing that's great about the collector booster, if you're a fan of the traditional foil cards, it's packed with foil cards. So lots of goodness there. And then on the right-hand side of your screen, what we all know and love, the draft booster. The draft booster for Midnight Hunt. It offers that great sit down and play experience when you get when you go to the pre-release upcoming. You'll get 6 of these draft boosters. Great to build sealed decks with as well. And so there's just we really are trying to make products that hit all of our fans, no matter how you love Magic. We wanted to make sure that you could find it in Midnight Hunt, and so this is sort of the booster part of the product suite.
Yeah, and looking behind in that image there, you can sort of see just peeking out over the top there. Looks like 2 additional commander decks. So these decks are going to be releasing alongside Midnight Hunt. We can kind of get like there's a look. There's someone who looks a little bit vaguely blue for some reason back there. We're not going to be revealing anything about those commander decks here so far, but just to say that they are in the style of the the Strixhaven and AFR Commander decks that have released recently. So a similar number of new cards, and those will be releasing alongside Midnight Hunt as well.
Yeah, they were peeking out of that image. They were hiding behind the draft boosters there.
Just waiting for a jump scare, you know.
Yeah, I saw. Once I looked at the image again, I also noticed that there's a bundle. We do a bundle with every with every set release as well. So Midnight Hunt has a bundle as well. Yeah, the images have all sorts of surprises,
Easter eggs, hidden surprises. Yeah, exactly. So this fall is a little bit different compared to what we saw last year, since we have 2 Innistrad sets. So we have we have Midnight Hunt coming in September into October, and then Crimson Vow coming in November. Now this is definitely way too early to start talking a whole lot concretely about Crimson Vow, but we did want to make sure that we showed off just a little bit of what we have coming up for there as well. So Sean, if we could move towards some of the key art and some of the landscape cards, you can see, there we go. Unsurprisingly, in our Innistrad set centered around vampires, of course, we have the return of Sorin, looking just as dashing as ever there in that piece. Now, as we're sort of looking through, taking a look at the product lineup for Crimson Vow, Mike, if you and Ethan, if you could talk a little bit about sort of the connective tissue between these two sets, or like how they relate to one another. Let's talk about what people can expect.
Right. So as Midnight Hunt is about werewolves, Crimson Vow is about vampires. There are going to be some mechanics that cross over between the two sets, so they share mechanics, but some of them have some different mechanics from each other. Each one is a fully draftable set on its own. Each one is a large Magic set with everything you would expect for a self-contained Magic set. They just both happen to take place in Innistrad.
And
go
ahead, Mike.
To add on to what Ethan was saying, we really viewed this as a 1-2 punch, right? Like there's just so much goodness of Innistrad. It is, every time we go out and talk with our players, Innistrad comes back as the favorite plane that Magic has done. And so we knew that we wanted to offer more than just what we could do in one set. And so by doing Midnight Hunt and Crimson Vow, it lets us highlight werewolves and vampires and all of the gothic horror tropes and goodness that there is to offer. And so we just saw this as a great opportunity to give more Innistrad to players and our fans who've loved it for so long.
Yeah, and fans of zombies, spirits, and humans, don't be afraid. There'll be plenty of goodies for you in those sets as well.
Exactly. Yeah, the background you can see just in this art, and in the background of the Sorin piece there also large gothic spooky magical castles, which are among my most favorite things in all of fantasy and all of its mediums. So I am extremely here for all of this. Great looking pieces, and Crimson Vow I think is going to really delight a lot of folks, hitting on all those classic vampire tropes. So taking a look at chat, it seems like people are excited for preview cards. I don't know, I'm getting a sense that there are people who want to see preview cards, and I think we've teased everybody long enough. So Sean, tell you what, let's start talking previews and let's showcase our very first one. This is Join the Dance. Join the Dance is a green-white uncommon sorcery. Create 2 1/1 white human creature tokens, and it has Flashback for 3, a green and a white. So we were talking a little bit about the Harvest Tide Festival, and the humans of Innistrad banding together to sort of gather ancient magics to try to combat the ever encroaching night. And this is sort of a representation of some of those humans and the rituals that they're engaging in. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the design of this card and some of the mechanics here. We see Flashback. That's a cool, nice returning mechanic.
Right, Flashback is returning. This is a very old mechanic. This was from Odyssey originally, I believe, which was the late 90s. And it also appeared in the original Innistrad set. Notably, we've never done a multicolor card with Flashback before. We are doing that for the first time here. That'll allow us to make some powerful spells that would be too strong or do something too crazy for a single colored card to do. So we're going to get some good, powerful, multicolored Flashback here.
Definitely. Really happy to see Flashback making a comeback. I know for me, I cut my teeth on Innistrad Limited when I was like really starting to go full on into Magic, and casting Travel Preparations was probably the first feeling that I had in Limited of like, oh, I'm doing something that I shouldn't be able to do. Like this is great. So seeing Join the Dance here, this time creating the things that could receive the +1/+1 counters that Travel Preparations would use. Ton of fun and awesome to see. Just taking a look at chat here, just to sort of get this out of the way. I don't want to. I hate to be this person to let down folks a little bit. We have some really cool cards that we're going to show off today. We don't have any werewolves to show off today. There is something a little bit different and a little bit new this time with the way werewolves work in Innistrad Midnight Hunt. We're not quite ready to reveal it yet, but you can be assured there are plenty of incredible werewolves of all kinds, and we're going to be showing off more of those as we get closer to the official preview season. That being said, we have other additional preview cards coming our way here. Sean, let's pull up Triskaidekaphobia. Triskaidekaphobia. Thank you. Costs 1 and a blue. It is a 1/3 creature human wizard. With the rules text, you have no maximum hand size. Then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. And then an activated ability of 3 and a blue to draw a card. So, okay, help me out here. One, Triskaidekaphobia what? And, I'm sorry, what? 13? What is going on here? Walk me through this.
Right, so Innistrad has a sort of recurring motif of the number 13, which, at least in Western culture, is an unlucky number, and so, therefore, horrific in some way. And so we've made lots of different cards with the number 13 on it in various ways, and it gets harder every time we make an Innistrad set, but we keep on coming up with new ideas. There was, as you can see on the screen here, Triskaidekaphobia was a card from Shadows over Innistrad, which made somebody lose the game if they had 13 life. Triskaidekaphobia loves the number 13, and so you will win the game if you have 13 cards in your hand, excuse me.
Exactly, yeah. Probably not the first time we are going to see reference to the number, not the first nor the last time seeing the number 13 referenced throughout the set. But yeah, no, what an awesome way to sort of continue the running themes that we've seen in previous Innistrad sets, and just share the love this time instead of the fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. I mean, she's just collecting hands. Like, there's nothing to be afraid of there. It's all about the love. The love of number 13.
Yeah, it's certainly a card you can see if you're a commander player, right? Playing a control deck in commander. It's certainly a good addition. Both the no maximum hand size and the alternate win condition. That's certainly. Oh, and of course drawing cards, right? It really can be a fun extra way to win the game.
Yeah, just to call it out. Sorry, Mike. I think you were about to say something similar.
I was about to call out, and you can see on the right hand side, there's a bundle promo. So in the bundle that we were showing earlier, every one of those has this alternate art promo card that you can get when you purchase the bundle.
Yeah, a great little addition to that bundle. All right, now. So we know Midnight Hunt is all about werewolves. There's going to be tons of them throughout the set. However, the Innistrad has always had a strong focus on creature types, especially the monstrous creature types and the humans that are fighting against them. And zombies have been a huge part of Innistrad ever since its conception. So to sort of lead into that, we have a zombie card that I think a lot of longtime folks are going to get a kick out of. Sean, if you could bring up Champion of the Perished. That is perished with an ED at the end. Champion of the Perished costs a single black mana. Does creature type zombie, a 1/1. And with the text, whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of the Perished. All right. I think I see what's going on here. But Ethan, Mike, walk me through this.
Well, this is a reference to a card from the original Innistrad set, Champion of the Parish, which is basically the same card, except it's white, and it cares about humans instead of caring about zombies. Champion of the Parish.
Yeah, a really great way to both support the zombie creature type and potentially offer some really fun new deck choices for people in Standard and other formats. A great callback to the original set, and also sort of a nice way to showcase that ever encroaching evil and terror happening on this plane, right? I mean, this was an iconic human creature in the original Innistrad block, and now it is, it's corrupted foil sort of appearing here as a zombie in this set, which is super cool. And we can also see that it is the Buy a Box promo for the set.
Yeah, so and the way the Buy a Box program works is for participating stores and while supplies last, players who buy a display box, the store will have a Buy a Box card that they get as well. And because it's a little hard to see in the digital format, I do want to call out both the Champion of the Perished that we're looking at here, the Buy a Box card, that'll be in a traditional foil, and the Triskaidekaphobia, the bundle promo, that's also a foil in the bundle. So I wanted to highlight that because showing foils digitally is always it's always a challenge. But
always a challenge.
Rest assured,
yep.
Yeah, rest assured, you get this awesome art in this great treatment, and it comes in foil as well. So lots to love there.
Excellent. Yeah, just two fantastic pieces there from Darken and Kik Haikotaki. Just really cool card. Now, one of the other cool things that something that should be on top of mind here is that we have Standard rotation coming up. We are about to enter a phase where a lot of cards previously in Standard that see play as sort of like the staples of the current format are going to rotate out, and Midnight Hunt is going to be a place where we're going to see some new cards that you're going to see pretty frequently here in New Standard that are also going to appear in promo packs going to WPN stores. So let's talk about some of these like staple effects that you're going to be seeing for some time here. Let's start with Consider. Consider is a blue instant, costs a single blue mana. It's a common. Look at the top card of your library. You may put that card into your graveyard and then draw a card. So this is just a great little, staple instant, sort of your opt style card for the set.
Yeah, obviously it resembles opt quite a lot. Opt where you scry one and then draw a card. This is a little more powerful in the context of cards like Flashback cards or other cards that care about the graveyard, which if you've played an Innistrad block before, there are a lot of cards that care about the graveyard or are more powerful if they're in the graveyard. So this can get you a little edge with those new cards.
Yeah, not surprised you're seeing some folks in the chat talking about, why not Surveil? This might be tipping the hand a little bit, but typically with sets like this where we have sort of the where a mechanic doesn't appear as a primary mechanic in the set, you'll often see unkeyworded versions of similar effects, right? So no Surveil here is probably a sign that Surveil is not going to be a mechanic in the set. However, very similar in function. But yeah, no, given Innistrad, it's a horror set. Obviously, the graveyard plays a big component. So being able to have some synergy there with filling things and putting them into your graveyard is going to be great for blue decks coming up with Midnight Hunt. All right, tell you what. Next, let's move right into the next one here. We still have a couple of previews, and I want to make sure we get to all of them. Let's talk about Infernal Grasp. Infernal Grasp it's another instant. It is a black uncommon, costs 1 and a black mana. Pretty straightforward rules text. Destroy target creature, you lose 2 life. There we go. There is the if you're looking to kill a thing dead, here we are.
Yeah, it's super important for the health of any format that there be strong answers to strong threats, and this is a very strong one indeed. This can destroy any creature unless it has, hexproof or indestructible or something. And for the low price of 2 mana at instant speed, you really can't beat that.
Yeah, no. We were chatting a little bit with Ian Duke from the development team about these cards, and he also brought up sort of the nice or the cool point that the life loss is sort of an interesting rider on this this sort of effect, because it really it's great for it's a classic removal spell, good for controlling the board, but in decks that are just going to sit and sort of control the board and not have a large presence, that 2 life does start to add up a little bit. So in the case of the classic aggro versus control matchup, that 2 life is not insignificant in some cases, but something tells me you're still going to be running this in all manner of controlling and mid-range decks.
Yeah, that is a good point, though, that it is a little more aggressively slanted than some other removal spells, perhaps.
Yeah. All right, so we have one more of these promo pack cards that I think people are going to be pretty excited about. Let's show off Play with Fire. Play with Fire is a red instant. It's an uncommon, costs a single red mana. Play with Fire deals 2 damage to any target. If a player is dealt damage this way, scry 1. So this is with all standard sets, we get this sort of like classic shock variant. So this is really cool to see here. Having a shock with upside is great. We've seen it before in the case of something like Wild Slash from the original Tarkir block. But yeah, no, this is a really good one to see for the upcoming standard environment.
Yeah, this is a card that is well positioned against control decks. Shocking a creature is fine. You'll play shock in standard pretty often, but this gives you the scry 1 is a significant bonus if you aim it at your opponent's face, and if you're playing an aggressive deck against a control deck, that is often going to be what you're going to do with this spell, because there just aren't very many small creatures that you need to target. So scrying into another one of these is going to feel pretty good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and as you can tell, for each one of these more staple effects, right? We've given them the promo pack treatment that we've been doing, which is the version on the right. Those come in promo packs, which stores will typically have, and they can give them out as they feel appropriate, depending on what their players like to do in the store. And so even like we were still making them available during the past year and a half, but a lot of times because play wasn't happening, then stores would be finding other ways to give away these cards. So you can find all of them in foil and in non-foil in the respective promo packs.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I also just want to really quickly call out here that this is depicting a devil on Innistrad, and of course, a devil's idea of fun is a flaming throwing knife. It's just good, harmless fun for all involved. Whenever we see a devil on Innistrad doing their business.
Yeah, I love this.
That devil.
Devils find human dwellings to be oppressively cold, dark, and unburnt.
Right. They can fix that.
You know that devil is going mountain, play with fire to the face, scry one. Like that's how the
Exactly.
devil plays Magic. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and take it from Mike Turian, somebody who knows a little bit of something about tossing red cards to the dome. All right. So if we could take things back to us real quick here, we do have one particularly cool preview card that I'm excited for us to be able to show off today. Um, so you might have a idea at least of some of the planeswalkers that are going to be in the set based on what we've shown so far. Obviously Sorin coming up in Crimson Vow, that looked a little bit like somebody whose name rhymes with Blarlin Blord in the Midnight Hunt key art there. But there is another planeswalker coming to Midnight Hunt, entering the lineup that we are going to be able to show off here today. So, quick drum roll, and Sean, if you could pull it up. We have Ren and 7. Not 6, 7. So Ren and 7 is a legendary planeswalker Ren, mythic rare, costing a 3 mana, a green, and a green. Starting loyalty of 5, with 4 loyalty abilities. So +1, reveal the top 4 cards of your library, put all land cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. That line of rules text might sound familiar to some folks familiar with Innistrad. 0, for 0 loyalty, put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. -3, create a green tree folk creature token with reach, and this creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. And then -8, return all permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. So Ren and 6 made their debut in Modern Horizons, known for a planeswalker who likes to sort of use these elemental trees as sort of like almost like a body armor mech suit. And the name 6 is in reference to the number of times this process has happened and sort of the named number of those dryads. So Ren and 7 here, this is the 7th incarnation of that sweet looking tree mech suit that we sort of got going on here. Talk to me a little bit about this card and what it offers for the set.
Yeah, it's funny. This card had a sort of unusual development process. The original Ren and 6 card was put in Modern Horizons just to be like, oh my god, what's some really weird planeswalker design we could come up with that we're unlikely to want to put in a standard set. And then, okay, the world building team designed a character around that card. For this next card, I led a team that did like mechanical designs for new planeswalker characters. And we thought, oh, what if we had a green land-based planeswalker that made tokens with reach? That could have some interesting applications. And when we brought it to the world building team, they said, well, why not Ren? Ren is friends with tree folk, and tree folk could have reach. And so it's like, oh, that's great. So now we've combined this this sort of mechanical identity with an existing character that makes a lot of sense. And Ren is scary looking. Like that is a scary monster dryad. So I think that Ren and 7 will be quite at home on the horror world of Innistrad.
Yeah, no, and you can see here we have both the standard version and the borderless version with art by Bram Sells, original by Hale and Wacho. The in recent years we've done these borderless treatments on all of the planeswalkers from our main sets, and so happy to see that that style make a return here. Both incredible looking pieces, and I'm excited to see what this card can potentially do in standard. Now, if I'm remembering right, that +1 is just mulch, right? That's like 1-for-1, I think. The original Innistrad card.
Yeah, that's exactly mulch.
Awesome.
Yeah, in speaking to the borderless treatments, so when we're talking about that product lineup, you can find those in the draft boosters, the set boosters, the collector boosters, right? We're always. And one of my favorite things about the board, I mean, I love the borderless treatment, But I just love that we get to show off, two different takes on the same character. Planeswalkers are just so amazing, and to be able to have two different artists do their version is great. And I'm really excited that we're bringing Ren to Standard for the first time, right? Because Ren was in Modern Horizons. This is the first time that you'll be able to play Ren in Standard, and Ren in 7 does an awful lot for 5 mana.
Absolutely. All right, Sean, if we could come back to us real quick here. Just as a heads up, we mentioned it on Twitter before, but there's also a daily MTG article that's being published, should be live right now already, actually, that's going to have all the information that we've talked about here on stream. The card previews will also be there. So if you're joining us late, have no fear. Check out daily MTG. And if the cards aren't previewed and available on the site now, they will be very soon. So keep an eyeball out there if you've missed any part of this stream so far. That being said, we do have one last thing to show off from Midnight Hunt in particular before we head out for the day. Something really cool. I got a huge kick out of these the first time I saw them. I have an illustrated copy of Frankenstein sitting behind me, and these pieces of art really, really took me back. So let's take a look. These are the Eternal Night basic lands. Wow.
Yeah. Those are amazing. Very different from anything we've ever made before.
Yeah, you can see we have one set by a whole cycle by Dan Mumford down on the bottom here, and then a couple of other artists, including Elena Danner, Evan Cagle, and a few others here up top. These are fantastic black and white lands. Now, Mike, talk to me a little bit about where we can find these cards in the set.
Yeah, first off, I'd also like to gush over about how fantastic these turned out. I see chat going, bringing that equal amount of excitement. Right. So for the showcase Eternal Night lands, you can find them in every draft booster will have one. In the set booster, every set booster will have one. And there's actually in the set booster there's a dedicated slot where that slot will occasionally upgrade to the traditional foil treatment. So in the set booster, you're typically going to get a non-foil version, but you do get an upgraded foil version in addition to the other foil you get. And then if you're like, hey, I really want that traditional foil, every collector booster has one of these 10 Showcase Eternal Night lands in traditional foil. So that's something that you can expect, and it's one of the ways that we really want to highlight this treatment. And since we're talking about foils, Chris, I'm just going to go right into. You can also, one thing that once again hard to show digitally, there is a high gloss pin line treatment, right? So as you're looking at the card, see that green border here as we're looking at the forest. We hit that with the high gloss spot gloss. Also, the mana symbol has that on these cards, and so once again digitally it's not possible to really convey it. But I've held some of these in my hand, and it's a really striking treatment that you can find both on the non-foil and on the traditional foil version. So I really love how that came out, and it just adds even more to already stunning cards.
Absolutely, yeah. I've had the chance to see some video. I haven't held them in my hands in person, but yeah, the pop on the pin lines and the mana symbols looks really great. Now, Mike, just to clarify, did you say draft boosters for these as well?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Right. The draft booster has a dedicated slot. It'll have one of these 10 lands in that slot. So you get one in every draft booster. The draft booster also can have these in foil, but that's far more scarce.
Right on. Yeah, no, those are fantastic, and I'm really excited to get a new set of draft lands using all the arts here. All right, taking a look at chat. We actually that is all that we have to share for the day here today. We've gone through a lot of really cool previews. Sean, if you want to just cycle through a couple of these real quick in case we have any folks who joined us late and might have missed anything. Really great getting a first look here at Midnight Hunt. Like I said, we have a daily MTG article that is going live and will be continue to be updated right now. That'll have all the information, all the cards, things that we've revealed and talked about here today. With more to come for Innistrad Midnight Hunt in a couple of weeks. So expect to hear back from us and hear more. But just before we really dive into preview season, wanted to make sure that we gave you a little sneak peek of things. Asking a lot or seeing a lot of questions in chat, Mike, really quick about whether or not the Eternal Nightlands are appearing in the bundle. Is that are you able to share that with us today?
If you're asking me the question, I suppose I am able to share that. The way you get those in the bundle is there are packs in the bundle, there are boosters in the bundle, and those boosters will have those basics in them. We also create for both the bundle and the commander deck. I'll call them a regular basic land, and so the lands that you get in the bundle and in the commander decks, aside from what you're opening up in the booster packs, it's not these versions, right? There's a version that's
right.
That's more more regular, I guess, is and
yeah,
right, and that's a question we always get. One thing that I do like that it does is it gets to show off just more of the world, and so I'm glad that we create some additional landscape pieces to really show off the world in the plane of Innistrad.
Yeah. That being said, given that you're going to find these in all kinds of boosters, probably won't be too tough to get your hands on them. Very similar to other full art lands in the past. Those sort of regular lands are also going to be just a tiny bit harder to come by than normal. But luckily, there's a nice stack of them in the bundle. But yeah, that is all that we have to share for today. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's been great. Thank you so much to Mike and Ethan. It's been really great hearing your insights about the development of the set. And can't wait to learn more.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Chris. I'm super excited. Coming back to Innistrad, it's awesome. I was so glad to get to work on it and just be a part of such an amazing world.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
all right.
The original Innistrad is a tough act to follow, but we're gonna try. We're
gonna try, and we're gonna try it twice even. It'll be cool.
That's right. We get two shots.
So yeah, checking out chat again. Like I said, have no fear. More werewolves are coming. There are going to be more werewolves that you can possibly shake a stick at. Werewolves don't like it when you shake the stick at them. They don't
play fetch.
Couldn't risk having them show up. No, they really don't. But yeah, stay tuned. In a couple of weeks, we're going to go way deep on Midnight Hunt. It's going to be a great time. Next week we'll have another great show. Blake will be back, and we can't wait to see you then. But until then, you all have a great day. Bye.